time for the nitty-gritty. Conversations be real live, it's time for the nitty-gritty. The revolution's not televised, it's time for the nitty-gritty. Reaching out to your conscious mind, it's time for the nitty-gritty. More than talking, you taking action, it's time for the nitty-gritty.
Madness like passing the EV. More than a canvas, you carry me.
This how your EP gonna be knocking?
It's like trying to remember. All that I have is my family each day.
For y'all watching, do y'all know that Cat sings? Y'all know Cat sings. She got an EP dropping. Probably like around December, January time frame.
West side of Chicago.
Sorry, a single. Sorry. She got a single dropping around December, January time frame. So what do you sing? I done heard her sing a couple of times.
Right. And we talk like we from the south.
I can vouch for it.
Our parents from the south.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's a little early. It's not quite 8 o'clock yet, but it's good. It's good. It's good. Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy, J.D. Costa.
And it's your girl, Katniss.
Together we are the Nitty Gritty. Look, we're TNGS live again. Got some stuff to come at y'all with. Things that are probably important to the culture. Making sure that everybody stays abreast. We like these live sessions. I like the feel of it. I miss it. Today, we're talking about voting. I know people get tired of hearing about voting, but I'm going to shove it down your ears as long as I'm around. And I know Kat agrees. We're going to be talking about Kanye and whatever we called that last week when he went to the White House. We're going to talk about Drake. For those that watch LeBron James, The Shop, HBO, we'll talk about some of that because it has some relevant context. And then that kind of gets us into conversations around Vic Mensa, Tentacion. Hope I said his name right. X. I'll just say X. Y'all know who X is. And then we'll talk about some of this energy on social media. A lot of opinions. Egos out here. For those that know the nitty gritty, I know what I'm talking about. But so we don't get into all that. First, I want to jump into obviously voting. For certain states, registration has been closed off, but most of the 50 states, you can still register to vote. A lot of that is closing like on the 19th, so you're talking about tomorrow. Friday. Some towards the end of the month, some up until the last day. Alpha Network actually put a listing of those dates and everything for everyone. You can go to vote.org. You can just simply Google in your state when's the last day you can register to vote. Keep in mind, I know in Alabama, they closed down a bunch of voting areas, primarily in areas that are predominantly black. So this is not me shouting out the race card. That's just a fact. They happen to close down a bunch of voting booths in areas that are, majority black. So these are the things that you might be aware of. Make sure you know where you're supposed to vote, what those opening times are, so you can get your votes in. This is an important vote. Every vote is important. And the reason why every vote is important because it impacts every facet of our lives. And I don't want people to get so caught up into the big themes like abortion and all that. I mean, those are important issues, but your roads, how people, get over criminal convictions and stuff like that to get work, those are really important too. So sometimes when you're voting just party, you lose sight of that. And weren't you saying something earlier about we need to stop having this beef with, voting just Democrat? I mean, you have made something like a comment to that extent, something like that?
I just think that if you decide that you want to be a Republican, it should be okay. I think that neither party is really for black people. That's just my honest opinion.
That's true.
But I do think that it is harmful for us to continue to support the Democratic Party, and yet they have yet to yield any positive results in legislative change to advance black people. So in my honest opinion, we should be infiltrating both parties, and we should be having politicians who we like, and we should be voting for them on the city council level. So that way they can advance up through city council, then to state, and then have the opportunity to potentially run for president. It's just that we don't take voting seriously. But I feel like in the event we meet someone, whether it's a celebrity who says they're Republican, granted, for example, I don't agree with Stacey Dash. I think she is, quite frankly, not quite bright. But if somebody were to come out and say, hey, I'm Republican, and have some intelligent answer as to the reasons why they're Republican, I don't think that should be a reason for us to attack them. And I feel like a lot of black Republicans, especially with this new age of social media, are very quiet about it because people attack them and call them a Trump supporter and what so have you. It is very possible to be a Republican and not be a Trump supporter. That's possible.
That's true. I think the issue has become is that a lot of the black Republicans out there or the vocal ones, should I say, have been like Trump supporters. Now, we do know there's people like Michael Steele who went against the party and voted for Barack Obama back in 2008. He did the same in 2012. He was very supportive of that. You had people like Colin Powell that came out in support of Barack Obama. So, I mean, we've had those kind of voices, but these are the people who everyone always known has been reasonable. Like, and I don't think Republican has to be the mark of, evil. Not saying that there aren't some out there that you want to put that mark on because they do some outrageous stuff, but yeah, we should more so focus on what that person represents. Are they willing to listen to me? And I think what happens is a lot of times is, especially in the Republican Party and how they deal with black folks is, I'm not going to get your vote anyway, so therefore I'm not going to hear you. Here's the thing though, if they get elected, you're still now, in office to take care of my needs, whether I'm black, Hispanic, gay, straight, Christian, atheist, whatever. And I think the job that, especially in the black communities that we're missing, and probably a lot of minority communities share this, is we have to be in the face of whoever is in office. A Republican wins the vote, okay, that means you get bitter and say, oh, the judicial system, the executive branch, legislative branches, those are all failed. No, we can still engage policy despite that. So I feel like when that happens, when your guy doesn't get in office, it's up to us to say, okay, that's not the guy I voted for, but you know what? Since he got the post, since he has a position, guess what? You now have to look out for my interests. And we can call that person. Their numbers are public information. Their emails are typically shared. They'll normally take anybody wanting to friend them on their social media or follow, because we are now their constituents. Whether I voted for you or not, you have a job now to represent my interests. Mm-hmm. Because you don't just represent the interests of those that voted for you, you also represent the interests of the district or the state or whatever jurisdiction that you are in charge of. So I think we have to learn how to start communicating with our Republican politicians. But I think there's a way to do it.
But I also think, and I don't want to be long-winded and belabor here long, but I also think that we have to, as black people, when it comes to politics, we've got to be consistent in our requests. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if you look back at the 60s, when it came to getting us voting rights, that did not come overnight. That came from consistent. They were pressing them. Like they were, like the way Charlamagne always say, had that same energy. They had that same energy for years before we actually got voting rights. Mm-hmm. So if we want to change laws involving the criminal justice system to ensure that black men are treated the same as other people who don't look like them, or laws that fix, weed distributors, there's no reason for men to still be in jail, men or women to still be in jail, whether you white, black, Hispanic, or Asian, for weed, when we got people out here who are legal weed owners here in DC. So I think in order for us to change those laws to make it fair so that we can kind of reverse systematic racism, we've got to press whoever is in office on a consistent basis. And when I say press, it's not just getting up and posting a tweet or talking about it or being angry or having little podcasts. Like, no one cares. I mean, literally showing up at the White House, consistent marching. I just feel like because we all have our day-to-day lives, people feel like, not saying it's not important, but your day-to-day life doesn't make the pressing, it's not a high priority for you because it requires over and beyond that of your day-to-day. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It requires way more of you. But if we did it collectively or even had a schedule or a plan, they have no choice but to address what we're pressing them on because, at a certain point, they're going to be tired of us pressing because then it's going to receive media attention. So that's just my thoughts on politics.
Yeah, and and it does segue to the next conversation, which is Kanye, right? So we know Kanye went to the White House. I personally felt like it was hard to watch. Like, it was like, man, like, dude, it's kind of embarrassing to watch speak. But he did ask for some things that most of us would agree, like, yo, those were valid. Like, he talked about prison reform. I'm not feeling him rocking the MAGA hat, especially if you already knew to redesign the MAGA hat. You know there's a problem with the one you're wearing. So if you made a MAG hat versus a MAGA, I felt like I would have respected the fact if he went there rocking. I mean, if he's Kanye, Mr. I don't care, had that same energy that you've had towards everybody else, he should have went there in front of Trump and rocked a MAG hat. Make America great. If you feel like you got an...
I feel like Kanye is about to punk everybody.
I hope so.
I think he's about... I gotta be optimistic. I think the boy is about to punk everybody. I think,
hope so.
I think that he sees President Trump and it's like, dang, he was the executive producer of Celebrity Apprentice, and my man got into the office, and so I can do it. So I think he's going to try to use Trump for inside scoop and for financial backing so that he can decide to run. I also think that Kanye deals with mental health and that we should not just gloss over it or brush under the rug. I think he definitely needs to get some kind of evaluation or help, because the thing that concerns me is that as he talks, it's not very clear as to what he means. He talks in like stream of consciousness, and there are certain things that he is saying that is just simply outlandish. Like, I don't know what happened to him. Maybe him, being involved with the Kardashians. Actually, no, I know what happened. I feel like a lot of times with celebrities, when they get a lot of money, they're just no longer in touch to the black struggle, in my opinion. I don't know why that's the case. Maybe because they're in a different economic place, but they're no longer in touch with the black struggle.
Well, you got to think, before color was a decider of, the us and the them, before then it was like who was born into royalty, who was born into money, right? So the us versus them has always been there. Right now, it's displayed in who has money, who doesn't, paler complexion versus darker complexion, straight versus, gay, or all these different things we use to divide people, but there's always been a divide in people, right? So what happens, I think, with black athletes, they're falling back into some of the oldest forms of that, which is I have money and you don't, and I think they lose sight. And then if you're like Kanye, you bombard yourself into like this castle and wall out all thought and knowledge, then you kind of jacked up. So,
Paul said, no, you had to write the Kardashian effects.
All right, I feel you on that. Hold up, he dropped something else on us. What'd he say?
Every prominent person of color experiences an epic change once they get involved.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, and I agree with that. And, and I think that's why it's important that people stay grounded. But that's a whole conversation on family.
But how did Kanye go from Kanye getting on live television to saying President Bush does not care about black people because he knew it was a problem that they didn't have emergency plans to assist Hurricane Katrina victims, and then now he's going on, what was he tweeting about? They need to, forget about the 13th Amendment. Remember when he said something like that?
Yeah, I mean, he said it in front of Trump. He's wording it horribly, but I get what he's saying. He wants to take out the aspect of slave labor or labor result of being incarcerated, right? So I get that. He wants to take that out, or, making another amendment or towards that. But this whole like cooning and buffooning, that's what Diddy said at one time, right? This whole cooning and buffooning in front of him to make the point, like, oh, I love this guy. Like, he was just literally like just really riding the whole time.
But Kanye loves everybody that has a dumb amount of money.
Yeah,
to the point where he almost, to me, seems like he's a slave to money, because his admiration for folks that has money, and he stated when he was talking to Sway, I want to be a designer because designers have X amount of money and they're blocking me out from that, which may well be true, but his reasonings for wanting more money to me are never sound, I want to advance people, I want to, help black people.
It's all very selfish.
It's all very selfish reasons.
I mean, even when he was talking to Trump, he was talking about innovation centers for learning. And while he made some kind of decent points, it was like, hold on.
He said, cooning and buffooning is the comment of the year.
It's facts though, right? But I mean, he made some good points. Like when he was talking about the innovation centers and different ways of teaching our young and change the education system, there are people, who have PhDs in education that would agree with that statement.
Why?
But how he preferenced it and how he had to throw his name on there, Yeezy Innovation Centers.
Well, I think what it is that you're a fan of Kanye. And I think
No. I'm dissing a lot of stuff he said.
It's very hard for you to be like, you know what, I can't even rock with Kid. My thing with him, another thing.
No. I'm definitely not rocking with him right now because he's doing some dumb. I mean, the coon and the buffooning. The problem is, and this is why Charlemagne. I agree with what Charlemagne did. He canceled his conversation. I think that was supposed to be today or tomorrow. He canceled that talk he was having with the New York Times because he knows that everything Kanye does is going to be overshadowed in this image he's creating.
I thought he said he canceled it because of their schedules.
No, it wasn't schedules. He canceled it because he didn't want all the antics of Kanye to overshadow the conversation of mental health.
Well, I also feel like we got to talk about the fact that Kanye, the way he's moving, in addition to cooning and buffooning, is foolish because how he played Drake. Now, granted, there are definitely two sides to every story, but the things that Drake said on LeBron James's show, if you guys didn't watch it, I believe him.
Yeah.
I believe Drake. No?
I believe him, but I didn't like the way that Drake painted it. Right?
But if it's true...
No. This is what I mean.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. I think it was foul that he would give confidential information to Kanye. He would give him the lift yourself beat. He would do all these different things in a way to like taunt him, all the stuff he talked about, but then like, you know what I'm saying, do what he did. Now, so I agree with that. Where Drake loses me, and when he starts talking about he starts acting like he's the victim in it all, right? And it's like, hold up, don't act like you didn't throw out a diss record in response to Pusha, and you brought up his his fiance's name. At that point, you don't know how somebody's going to respond to something you say. You get what I'm saying? Now, he had the extra ammo by right of Kanye, but really, Pusha is not really the problem in all this. You get what I'm saying?
Pusha had a Drake diss record first, right?
He put it on his album, but keep in mind, like, his album was fire anyways without that. But Drake had been throwing shots at Push for a long time. You get what I'm saying? It was a long time coming that he was going to eventually say something back. And your boy came back, and everybody was like, "Oh, Drake's came back with a diss record against Pusha T, right?"
But
he's like, "It's too far," because he brought up the MS situation before
with his friend. But if you listen to the conversation, Drake doesn't even care about Pusha T. Never once in that interview with him and LeBron is he even caring anything about Pusha T. He is mad at Kanye because he felt like him and Kanye were brothers, had a bond. First of all, he let Kanye listen to half of his album. Kanye knew his dropping date. Kanye knew he had a kid. He actually went to Wyoming to help Kanye with his album. Kanye told him you could have a lift yourself beat. Drake was writing to it, and then Kanye turned around and did a bogus, yippity skippity whoppity whoop type record on the beat. So to Drake, he's like, you trying to really like crush me low key, like play me on some whole level thing. The whole conversation with LeBron, he don't care about Pusha T.
No, I know that, but I don't like the fact that he was like, and I don't like Drake, but I don't like the fact that he was laying in there. You got your boy Paul bigging you up.
He said,
no, come up. Son.
Right, but I didn't read it. He said, no, Drake is saying that the initial transgression was Kanye luring Drake in under the guise of working and then betraying confidence. Exactly. Everything that happened after that is just rap beef stuff. It's hip hop. Facts cat 100. It was like it ain't got nothing to do with Pusha.
But no, he did make a comment towards Pusha where he felt like the MS thing was too far. And then his other thing that he said, you can go back and watch the tape. He also said, "I'm not going to respond to this guy because I'm not going to help make him bigger." First of all, Push came before Drake.
Right,
but Push is already a cemented. He already a cemented lyricist in there.
But if we're comparing popularity and net worth, Pusha T is here and Drake is here.
But my thing is, but Push's thing, right? And I understand where Push is coming from. He was like, Drake put lips on my fiance. So then he's like, you took it low, I'm gonna take it all the way down to the flow. And this is what people need to understand. And this talks about something else you brought up earlier, right? People get on social media or they get out there and they put certain energy out. They say these little comments. They get into little beefs on Facebook, Twitter, and all that. And then they're like mad about how somebody responds to some stuff they said at their mouth. And it's like, you just don't know how somebody's gonna respond. You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready for that energy.
Yeah, you gotta be ready for the energy. But I also feel like in anything in life, people gotta be respectful. And then furthermore, what I don't like is the fact that people get ballsy to comment or combat something that someone says, but in person they ain't got that same energy.
That's what I'm referring to. I'm agreeing with you there.
But
People run out, they jump out the window doing this, right? And then they don't think about the consequences. And this is just bigger than just, because we're not really into the whole rap beef, social media type stuff, but it does have an implication on society and how we deal with each other. Like, people can't even be real friends with each other because everybody want to be fake in front of each other, right? But then behind each other back, they saying this and saying that. I got to see so many people online. I ain't going to shout my bestie out, but obviously she had to check somebody today for the same reason. Now, I know she would get that smoke in person, but sometimes, like, it's just a shame that we have to put people on notice on social media for people that respect, our space. Like, it's crazy because people have this extra energy that they don't have in person. Well, and we don't have interpersonal communication skills anymore either.
Yeah. And I just feel like there's some people who just argue about everything. You can say the sky is blue, they gonna argue and say it's green. It's like, listen, if you think whatever, that's fine. I am not gonna, whomever, I don't want to use my energy to convince you otherwise. What I always like to say is we can agree to disagree, and people hate that because guess what? And the opinion's like a butthole. Everybody has one. Doesn't make it right, wrong, or factual. Sometimes there are factual opinions, but the reality is everybody's entitled to an opinion. Doesn't mean people are going to agree with my opinion or I'm going to agree with your opinion. But in the event you don't agree, we can just agree to disagree and leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, you just disagree. Now, I will say this kind of ties forward with, there was some conversations about, like, what's too far. So, I don't know if you're familiar with Vic Mensa. He's a Chicago rapper. He's had some things he's gone through. But I guess in his cipher for the BET Awards last night, and I guess it was pre-recorded, so there was already talks about this, he made comments towards XXXTentacion. And he was talking about somebody being an abuser, and then, you're going to get XXX. Everybody knows he's talking about him. A lot of people were offended by this comment because they felt like it was out of place because there was an award being given to XXXTentacion, and his mother, the mother was there to, they hear this.
Is it because XX, when you say abuser, you mean like of drugs?
No, an abuser of women.
Oh, well, I mean, if it's true, it's true.
So,
whether or not, and listen, this may come a little harsh, but there are a lot of moms that love their sons so blindly that they don't check them for bad behavior.
But I guess what they're saying is because X is dead, right? It's kind of like going to a funeral and the pastor saying...
Oh, it is inappropriate. Okay, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, because it's like, okay, there's no point of bringing up all his bad things now. He's no longer here. Let's just honor him
and they're trying to,
and be done.
Yeah, so at the BT Awards, they're trying to somewhat commemorate his death.
Okay, yeah, that was inappropriate. He said it on stage?
Yeah, he said it during the cipher. He says it.
He said
he makes this like, I don't remember the exact words, so I don't want to misquote it, and everybody be in the mentions talking about, yo, you misquoted the rhyme wrong.
Well,
but pretty much he makes a comment about X being an abuser.
Well, let's.
And then when they asked him about it afterwards, he doubled down on it. He was like, look, it is what it is.
Let's hypothetical.
Although he's been accused of being an abuser before too.
That's hypothetical. I don't want to speak this into existence, but let's say, for instance, something happened to Bill Cosby, and they wanted to commemorate him. Is it wrong for someone to say, well, he raped women? If it's true, it's true.
No, I get it.
I'm just saying.
I get it.
I'm just saying. And maybe, what's the guy's name who was saying this? I forgot already.
It was Vic Mensa that said it.
Vic Mensa. Maybe Vic Mensa feels he has to speak out on behalf of women because maybe he knows someone personally who was abused.
Well, that's the caveat. Like, I mean, so... That's why it was a big deal, because it was like, Vic, you've been accused, I guess he admitted to choking and punching a girl or something like that.
Oh, so he abused too?
Yeah.
So that's how he told us to rock in the glass house.
That was like the whole, the whole thing.
Pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, it was kind of like, how you going to do that? And then, whatever. You get what I'm saying? So that's like the whole big deal behind that whole situation.
Well, I do believe that when Bill Cosby goes, they're probably going to want to commemorate him. They're going to speak so greatly about him. He was all of these things.
I don't know if they're going to commemorate him at this point.
They're going to commemorate him. They're going to speak so highly about him, and they're going to give him his flowers after he is died. Right now, they're going to shame him. That's just how they always do stuff.
Well, Kevin Hart said it before. He's like, the favorite movie that everyone really likes to watch is The Rise and Fall of a Star. Right?
Yeah.
He was a dad. He was America's dad. A black man. America's dad, and now, you know, he in prison. They talking about him getting slapped in the face with chicken patties and stuff.
And not that I'm a Bill Cosby fan, but he was a great advocate for education. When I went to Spelman, there was a building named after him called Cosby that we studied in.
Yeah, and so, didn't they change the name of that too?
They took the name down.
I thought so. Yeah, like a lot of institutions.
But he did. Yeah, he gave lots of money to HBCUs.
You know what? And I think the lesson to go from that is, you know, just don't let your good be evil spoken of. You know, like my biggest issue with Bill Cosby when all this stuff came out is, bro, if he wasn't cheating, he wouldn't have this issue.
And that goes for all men.
If you're this Douglas Camille,
all men.
Like, people gotta realize when you make an action, you just gotta understand the repercussions or the possible outcomes of said, you know, move.
And we gonna take it a step further. When you upset, mad because you got kids and you gotta pay child support for 18 years, well, listen, you do have a choice. Both women and men have a choice. You can choose to helmet your soldier. You can choose to helmet that soldier.
Yeah.
And you can choose to be on birth control. And guess what, ladies? I know a lot of Christians don't like this choice, but I'm going to say it. You can choose to have an abortion. That is what pro-choice is about. And I don't think by you consciously choosing, I am not ready to be a parent. I am not ready because I'm not financially responsible. I am not emotionally in a place. And maybe you have insight that the father does not want to support having a child. You can choose to have an abortion. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do, but what I am saying is that there is power in choice, and I don't believe that God would give us the ability of choice if he didn't want us to make conscious decisions for our life. Now, with that being said, the last point I want to make about it is that doesn't give you the right to continue to keep doing the same thing over and over again, living in sin, keep giving abortions, keep getting people pregnant. It means that after you've made a decision, you've learned from that, and then you live life applying it.
You know what? I do want to. I got one thing to stay on it because I know where I stand as far as that subject goes. But what I do want to talk about is, and I mean, a lot of people that know us, so that, you know, if you watch the show, you know that we're Christians, right? So I know where most of you stand. But keep in mind, America is not a church; it's a municipality. Right? And I know a lot of people like to say, well, it's founded on Christian laws, but we had slaves, guys. So, and we beat the crap out of people for no reason. And there were laws set up in place of this so-called Christian society that went against the church. So let's just go ahead and throw that part out the window and let's keep it real. Now, with the fact that it's a municipality, people can choose to live whatever way they want to. And then when we're making those laws, I think you got to take into fact that people have different standards of life they want to live to based off whatever their belief system is. And I think that's why voting is so important right now. Because when you get, you know, someone like Kavanaugh in there and you know that he's going to sway the Supreme Court to go against things like a woman having choice. And then it's kind of like if you know, like, where is the line? Where does it stop? Okay, so most Christians would be like, oh yeah, I agree with the abortion, but then it's like, okay, what about birth control? Because a lot of these people who are anti-abortion are also anti-birth control. So then it's like, what if you are having sex within the sanctity of marriage that most Christians would want you, but you can't financially provide for 10 kids? You still should be able to enjoy your wife or your husband, but you should be able to protect yourself against pregnancy if you guys are not financially in that space, but you're enjoying sex because you're married. You get what I'm saying?
You should be able to enjoy sex as being married, and you should be able to plan when you decide you want to have a child. If you don't want to have a kid, you should be able to have that choice. I am pro-choice, and I do not like anybody to tell a woman. First of all, I want to say this too. When a woman gets pregnant, to me, the decision should be made between you and that father, assuming you know who that is. You should ask them.
I was messing.
Well, some women don't know.
That's true.
That's facts. You should ask that man, do you want to have this kid, yes or no? And based upon his answer, that doesn't mean that it should dictate your decision, but consider. If he tells you up front, I don't want to be there, I don't want to be involved, you already know what the next 18 years is going to look like. No?
Yeah, that's true.
Just consider.
A lot of the signs are there well beyond. And then I'm happy that you brought this up because I was talking to somebody I know, right? And it's weird how right before elections,
You okay?
I'm over here choking. Y'all watching me die live. Y'all ain't called 911 or nothing to help a brother out. Y'all just watching me die.
No, I'm just playing.
Look, but that helps. So look, like, y'all, we see, like, all the time around election time, like, people who are, like, you know, like, going on the Christian side, they allow their votes to be swayed a lot of times on bullcrap. It's like, okay, it's one thing to have your faith beliefs, but then when that's tied in with stuff like Michelle Obama's a man. So literally, I had somebody send this to me. I'm not going to call them out as far as who they are. They firmly believe in what they believe in. I told them it was full of crap.
I don't even want to put that out there because it takes me to a level of just so extreme.
But they don't understand how that's racially. It's first of all, that's a racially motivated.
It is motivated, but
whenever
it's
they call black women apes and men all the time.
Disrespectful. I'm not even going to comment to it. Like Michelle Obama, there are a few black royalty families. The Obamas. The Jacksons, well, the Jacksons are here. We kind of talk about them because they had some issues. But there are just a few black royalty families, and the Obamas are one. And you're not going to talk about Michelle in my presence. Period. Done.
Yeah, so, I mean, but I want people to know that don't be so swayed by the far right and the far left opinions that you lose sight of the base of it. You get what I'm saying? And I think it just hurts my feelings when I see people being swayed by stuff that don't even matter. And it don't even make any sense.
He means, because I don't want to be long with it, when you talk about abortion and when we talk about homosexuality, while you are concerned what another man does with another man, it's none of your daggone business. You are not the savior. You do not have the keys to heaven and hell. You do not dictate who makes it to heaven. So in the event somebody decide they want to live their life with the same sex man, that is none of your business. The best you can do for that person is pray for them. Thanks and great day. None of your business.
So
don't bother me none. If you want to live with somebody, then live your life and be happy.
So, like, you know, I think that pretty much covers that. But, you know, I agree. But I just want people to focus on the issues at hand and then keep that, like, 100.
Because there's more important issues to focus on.
Definitely more important issues to talk about. I mean, when you start talking about people who are being killed for the color of their skin without really doing anything wrong, we got folks out here still falsely calling the cops. Did you hear about the lady that said that the little 9-year-old boy groped her?
That, and I heard about the girl who went with the man into his own apartment building and then she
wanted to see her key fob. That's not her place to do that.
But aside from that, you got Christians worried about all of this, and then you got to think about just perspective. There are Christians in the world, like in China, who are dying because they believe in Christ.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about that we have the free will to just worship God, read the Bible. I don't even want to go get too deep.
I think what it is American Christians think that God only resides in America, and they forget about the whole world. So the policies that they're championing here in America, the thing is, it doesn't line up to the word because the word is universal there. It's going to work within America. It's going to work in the UK. It's going to work in Africa. It's going to work in China. It's going to work in Uganda. It's going to work in Australia. Like, it's going to be the same everywhere. So if a law lines up for your benefit as an American Christian, quotations, huge quotations, but then that same justice or that same freedom in the word doesn't apply outside of that context, then you got to wonder, what is this politically motivated just to get me to vote Republican, right? Because people are talking about Trump's as God's chosen, but I'm sorry, I wouldn't. It's hard to imagine that God's chosen be running around telling people grab them by the pussy. And also, while I'm at it,
that's God's
while
chosen.
everybody's talking about like God's chosen and who God puts up and God appoints everyone. First of all, God never appointed Saul. When you look at the children of Israel, before they ever had an actual king, they only had a judge, right, or the high priest. And then they decided they want to be like the other nations around them. Yeah, I read the Bible. They wanted to be like the other nations around them. And they decided we want a king like everyone else. And they looked for the guy who was tall, head and shoulders above all other men, right? Good looking. And he ended up not even being obedient. He was a hot mess for 40 years. He was king for 40 years.
Not only that, look at David. David wasn't looking like no king. He was over here doing sheep.
But David was God's chosen. And that only says that nobody's perfect. But
I'm saying David was a boy when he got into the kingdom.
Kind of losing sight of where I'm going.
But I'm just saying he wasn't the ideal what they thought.
According to the word, like I said, it doesn't go in line with what I'm saying because he was at least God's chosen. Saul wasn't. He was chosen by the people. And I'm lining that to the Republican Party and those like crazy people within the Republican Party because it's like obviously Trump and his character has proven he's not no God's chosen or whatever. So stop saying that.
I'm trying to align it to because the people sometimes got it in their mind what they think should be the leader, and they just backwards. I.e., these people who be burning their Nike clothes because they think Nike support. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Some people really got it in their mind that this is the way to move, but they don't really have any idea that there is a gift or a blessing potentially to come from someone who you didn't expect. I.e., not Trump, but somebody else.
All right. And then on a small note before we let out, me and Kat had this debate over the weekend, and I want to put this out on social media. You know what I'm saying? She didn't even know I was going to go with this. Her face was like, what are you going to say?
I don't even know.
All right, so All Deaf Digital, over the weekend did a video, who's better?
Okay.
Right? They like Michael
Who
Jackson.
is-
Hold on. Who's more legendary, right? Michael Jackson or Beyonce?
Who is
Obviously, it's Michael Jackson. Obviously.
Who is the greatest entertainer of all
Michael Jackson.
And I think that it is a very difficult race because there are things that one does better than the other.
But you still think it's Beyonce?
For example, Beyonce sings better than Michael Jackson, especially live.
No, she sings better than New knows Michael Jackson.
Right, okay.
She doesn't sing better than Bell Pepper knows Michael Jackson.
When Michael was singing with his brothers, he really could sing.
No, it's not about when he was singing with his brothers. When them nostrils was flared out, brother was hitting notes. I played Ben.
Negro nose nostrils.
Yeah, look, when he was breathing in all that extra air through his nose, brother was knocking notes. But he started talking about
the thing that I can say that Michael Jackson has over Beyonce is the fact that he is iconic. The way that he looked, the way that he dressed. There are dances like his whole persona. It was very original. But when it comes to just flat out, you just a monster entertainer, it's Beyonce. Why? If you've ever been to her concert, the whole process from the video to the lighting to the stage to the band to the fact that the girl dances nonstop and sings live to the fact that she had twins and then literally like a month later performed at Coachella.
That's not a fair comparison because a man can have kids.
Well,
but
just like Serena is the greatest athlete of all time, who you know had a baby and come back and still swinging that thing. Women are great. Women are great, and I believe that Beyonce and Michael. I believe that Beyonce has gotten to a point in her career where she is literally, we can actually argue who is the greatest entertainer of all time.
I don't know if it's really that arguable. And the reason why is because why Beyonce's set is amazing. I get it. The concerts are phenomenal.
But y'all never even been to a concert, so how did he even have a?
But have you been to a Michael Jackson concert?
I've seen the videos.
I've seen Beyonce videos. So why does that work for you but not me?
Well, because.
Let me explain. I'll wait.
Okay, I'll tell you. Because Beyonce is alive and well for us to attend her concerts, and Michael was before our era. So how was that going to
But you can watch a video and decide from what you see in the video.
I'm saying
because here's the problem with your argument is that this is almost like how I talk about like things that line up universally. Because there are elders would say who saw Michael live was like, no girl, I saw Michael, people were fainting.
But I talked to somebody who saw Michael Jackson live, who saw Beyonce
and
live,
I've heard the people,
and they said, you know what? I thought up until this moment in time that Michael won it undoubtedly, but when I went to that girl's concert, that thing was phenomenal.
But I know people that still stand by Michael who've seen Beyonce.
Okay, well, you know, it is what it is.
I say it's Michael.
I'm not saying.
But we want y'all opinion on who's the best. I'm curious.
Beyonce is undoubtedly beating Michael because I feel like you can't. The 3-patch little army jacket that he had, the little military jacket he used to wear, the jerry curl hair, look, the high sock shimmy shocks with the shoes, the moonwalk. That's all iconic. He was a
hot mess for a long time.
That's all iconic. Even the that's all iconic type stuff. So like, I get it. But as far as her concerts, girl's bad.
I'm leaning on MJ. Period. Signature dances.
I think that she is now in the conversation.
And then Michael Jackson got a 40-year career
in the conversation.
4 decades, and then hits in every decade.
Beyonce's still going.
She ain't quite at 40 years yet. Now, here I will say
She's still going.
I will say this, and my man, who created New Jack Swing, what's his name? Teddy Riley, right? Teddy Riley did make this point. He said if anybody would ever, no one has surpassed Michael yet, but if anybody's capable of ever reaching him, he said Beyonce and Chris Brown, and I can agree with that. Chris Brown, the problem is people won't ever let him grow past his issues, and then he kind of does dumb stuff in the process to make people not like him. But He's super talented, could dance his butt off. Maybe there's some grace or redemption in his future that comeback to, because I mean, Drake just brought him out. It seems like a lot of people are trying to hash out their differences and their beefs they had. Who knows? Like, I think Chris Brown has a legit shot, or at least had one.
So talented. I wish.
We'll see. But I want people to hit us up. You know what? We're gonna create a poll on our Instagram, and then I want you guys to respond to this video, and I want y'all to hit us back on everything we talked about. But then especially, and if you live in a certain city, shout out, or state, shout out when when late registration is, or the last day for registration. Feel free to post that information yourself. But then I want people to tell us who's better, MJ or Beyonce. Let us know. I want to know. I already know, but I want to know what y'all think. Just hit us up. And we got old and young that watch this. So I feel like the old heads is gonna side with me. I think the young divas are gonna side with you. There's a lot of young divas out there, so we'll see.
Don't let it be just divas. It's some guys that like Beyonce too.
That's true.
Just
so
saying.
we'll see. But and then also, but you know what we're gonna do? Can't put it on the live video, but on the YouTube, because we're gonna actually start putting all these videos on YouTube. We got that taping as well. I'm gonna post because this is something else we're talking about. I'm gonna post Whitney Houston's
national anthem
and Beyonce's national anthem, and who's better?
The fact that Beyonce's in all the conversations tell you that she bad. Just saying. All right, let's go.
Whatever. I'm gonna post those, and then I'm gonna post a Beyonce concert, and I'm gonna post like clips of a Beyonce concert and clips of an MJ concert in that same video.
If you look at Michael Jackson's halftime performance compared to Beyonce, well, no, Michael Jackson wasn't bad for his time.
It was dope.
For his time, it was actually.
It's not gonna have all the graphics because
it was like right.
But you gotta imagine that would have been there had it been available, considering what's available and what he did.
Truth be told, we're getting way off topic, but I actually thought Katy Perry's halftime show was.
Man, we ain't talking about no man today.
It was really good.
But look, I'm happy that y'all put up with us for all this time.
I know.
We appreciate y'all always tuning in. We love y'all.
Peace.
And peace. As we let this play out, I'm gonna play some of this Angel. It's a song called Return of the Mackin. Shout out to Justin Thompson for putting me on the Angel. He's dope. I'm gonna start curating music single, man. I know hot tracks.
Well, I'm out. Peace, y'all.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.